Okay, so here we're going over the subtraction practice. So again, do these on your own to make sure you know the method, and then check it to see if you're on the right track. So the first one's traditional algorithm. So 685 minus 549. 9 you can't take from 5. So again, we would have used the language borrow, but ungrouping is better. And cross it 8 off, make it a 7, and give a little tiny mark by the and make it 15. 15 minus 9 is 6. 7 minus 4 is 3, 6 minus 5 is 1, and I get 136. All right, let's look at the next one, partial differences. So I have 685 minus 549. Okay, so in this one, I'm going to draw like my little L thing, and a kid would look at this as 600 minus 500 and draw it to the right of the L thing. 80 minus 40 is 40, so I'm going to put a positive 100 for the 600 minus 500. 80 minus 40 is a positive 40, like you have 40 left. And then the last thing off to the side of the L, 5 minus 9, is either, now we might think of it as a negative 4, but kids are probably going to think of it that they need to subtract 4 more, okay? So they still have 4 they need to subtract. Now, again, kids will usually do an intermediate step, so they might like combine the 100 and the 40 and then subtract 4, or they might take the 40 with the minus 4, and then they might get 36 for that. So they might combine that and get a positive 36, and then add it up and get 136 that way. So they usually do an intermediate step. They don't do that all at once. Okay, so they'd have a positive 100, positive 40, and then either a negative 4 or minus 4. They're going to combine 2 of them, so maybe the positive 40 with the negative 4 or minus 4 and get 36, and then add the 100 back in. All right, let's look at adding on. So adding on, I have 685 minus, what is that, 549. And again, if drawing a vertical number line helps you a little bit, you can do that. So you have 549 and you have 685. And this is kind of, you're trying to like add on until you build up to that number. So you're not starting at 0, you're starting at 549. So you might be like, oh, I'm going to add, some kids might just say, well, I'm going to add 1 to get up to 550, which is totally fine. We're at 550, so you've added 1 so far. And then from 550, they might be like, okay, well, from 550, I'm going to go up to 650. And that's what? Adding on another 100. And then from 650 to 685, I have to add on what? 35. And so that's 136. Now, that is not the only way you can do it. So again, if you're at 685 minus 549, okay, again, I'm going to draw a vertical number line, 549 with 685 above it to the right. So some kids are like, well, if I add 51, that gets me up to 600. And then from 600, I just need what? Another 85 to get up to what I want. So I'm going to add my 51 to get up to 600, and then add 85 to get up to 685. And then they're going to add those numbers and get 136. So again, they might add up in different ways. All right. Let's see. Let me go over what's next. I'm shifting both. So let me go over here. So shifting both. Again, you can move them both up or down because it won't change the distance. Now, again, you want to do it in a way that makes it easier, not harder. So I look at this and I'm like, well, let's see, I have 685. If I shift this down to an 8, that becomes a 4. I still have to ungroup. So I'm thinking maybe I'll shift them. Let's see what happens if I shift them both up 1. I get what? 686, and I get 550. And that's pretty friendly. Again, you want to shift them in a way that you don't have to ungroup. Now, if you think about a number line, what's happening here? I'm at 549 and I'm at 685. All I'm doing is I'm moving both that distance up 1. So I'm moving this point up 1 and I'm moving my other point up 1. So the distance between those two numbers has not changed. So I've changed the numbers, but I haven't changed the distance. So now I can subtract and I get 136. That's called shifting both. All right, base 10 are baggies. Let's see, I'm going to use some other paper here because I probably need a little space. So 685 minus 549. Remember when you do baggies, you only draw the first one. Let me make my video. Let's see if I can get it to expand out a little bit. Well, it doesn't want to let me. All right, it doesn't want to let me make it wider now that I've started the video. All right, so you only draw the first one. So I have 6 flats. 8 longs, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 longs, and then I'm going to put 1, 2, 3 underneath for my 8. And then I have 5 singles. All right, and so now you don't draw this one. This is what you're going to take away. So I want to take away 9 singles, all right? I don't have 9, so I'm going to ungroup. So I'm going to cross off one of my long. I'm going to write the word ungroup with an arrow, and I'm going to put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 singles, okay? And now I'm going to cross off 9 of those. All right, so I got rid of my 9 that I'm subtracting. Okay, now I'm going to take away 4 longs. Well, I have 4 longs, so I am just going to go ahead and cross off 1, 2, 3, 4 longs. Okay, so I've done my longs. And now I want to cross off, take away 5 flats. So I'm just going to cross away 5 flats. Okay, so then what's left is my answer. Well, I have 1 flat that's left, so that I have 1 flat. I'm going to write down 1 flat. I have 3 longs, so 1, 2, 3 longs. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 singles. Okay, sorry, it's kind of running off the page there, right? I didn't realize my video would freeze in that space. So since I have 1 flat, 3 longs, and 6 singles, my answer is 136, and that's what it would be, okay? All right, let's see what's next. Using rounding with compensation. Okay, and again, we only want to round 1 because it's just too confusing if we round both. So I have 685 minus 549. All right, so I'm going to round 1. And again, I want to make it so that I don't have to ungroup. So I'm kind of like, I like my 685, actually. I think it's okay. I'm going to round the bottom number to 550. And that's because then I see that I don't have to ungroup anything if I round that one. So I'm leaving the top one alone and subtracting 550. So that's what? 135. Okay, so now I have to figure out to compensate. So ask yourself the question, did I subtract too much or not enough? Well, the person only owed 549 and I subtracted more than I was supposed to. So I actually took away too much. So I owe that person. So I need to give them 1 back. So 136. So if you subtract more than you should have, this number is smaller than it should be. I have to add 1 to compensate to get back to what I was at. All right, let's look at Australian. I have 685 minus 549. In this one, you truly do borrow. So you can't take 9 from 5, so you actually borrow an extra $10 bill. So you make the 4 that's in the tens position in the bottom, you make that a 5. And the 5 that is in the ones position up above, you make it a 15. So you really are borrowing an extra $10 bill. So now you owe 5 in the tens column in the bottom, but you get 10 $1 bills when you borrow. So that becomes a 15. 15 minus 9 is 6. All right, now I want to take 8 minus 5. That's great. I can do it. 3, I can take 6 minus 5, which is 1, and I get 136. All right, hopefully that helps. Again, practice these. We'll keep working on this stuff in class and get good at it. Take care.